Hi, my name is Lauren E. Miller, laurenemiller.com, and I wanted to share with you a very powerful technique that goes with the cravings, addictions, and attachments. So using the example of a craving or an addiction, specifically I'm going to choose smoking today. This is how the technique works. It's EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, which was one of the founders was Dr. Roger Callahan, and later improved and expanded by Gary Craig, who was Dr. Roger Callahan was a psychologist, and Gary Craig was an engineer from Stanford. The technique basically is acupuncture without the needles. It's very mechanical. It's not a spiritual practice. It's basically how the body's wired together. I believe it's a gift from God to see behind the scenes of what happens in the midst of anxiety, stress, and trauma in the human body. We become actually disconnected. There is a disconnect between the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere of the brain and within our system. We often refer to this as the deer in the headlights response, where we can't think, we can't talk sometimes, and we forget to breathe. So this technique is very powerful to use on the spot, and it's very forgiving. There's two crucial things that you need to remember when you're doing EFT: to be specific and to be persistent. From a scale from 1 to 10, whatever it is that you're trying to reframe or release from your life, when you are doing EFT, to continually check in and say, okay, on a scale from 1 to 10, how much am I craving this cigarette right now? Do some EFT work, and then go back and check in, until you get yourself down to a 0. Because if you just leave it at a 1 or 2, you're still kind of craving it, then a trigger can happen in your life, and you're back up at a 10, and you're smoking a pack of cigarettes. So, with that said, I'm going to choose cigarettes. So you have your cigarette. An important thing to do when you are doing EFT is to involve your 5 senses. Kinesthetically, it's very crucial to get your sense of smell, taste, using your imagination. If it's releasing a trauma from your past, which we're not speaking about that today, we're specifically talking about addictions. It's crucial to reconnect to all of the feelings around the situation. So with an addiction, let's say this is a cigarette. I smell it, I might even put it in my mouth, get the addiction up to about an 8 or 10 from a scale from 1 to 10. How much do I want this cigarette? And then put it down, and I begin the tapping. And the tapping is basically the points on the body. It's basically an energy circuit that runs through the body called the meridian system. And by tapping on these specific spots located closest to the surface, you relax the freeze that happens in the midst of addictive behavior. That's just repetitive behavior over and over again in the subconscious experience, and you're just along for the ride. So this is basically giving you the opportunity to take back your ability to make your choices in your environment rather than being the victim. I can't help myself. I have to have this in order to feel good about myself. And we talked a little bit about that in the last video on addictions, cravings, and attachments. So once you've connected kinesthetically to your craving, then you begin to tap. Starting at the karate chop point, you simply state your truth. The setup statement takes care of psychological reversal. Basically, we say one thing, but our beliefs are another. So starting on the karate chop point, you just repeat after me. And you can put your craving in, whatever it is, or addiction. Even though I have this strong desire to smoke a cigarette right now, I am willing to love and accept myself anyway. Even though I really want to smoke this cigarette right now, I am willing to love and accept myself anyway. Even though I really like the way this cigarette smells and the way it tastes, and I feel good when I smoke it, I am willing to love and accept myself anyway. Then after stating your setup statement, basically, hi, my name is Lauren Miller, and this is the deal. And I'm willing to love and accept myself anyway. So you can plug in anything, even though I have whatever it is, this, that, or the other thing. Be as specific as possible. I really want to smoke this cigarette right now. Then you follow it by, I'm willing to love and accept myself anyway. Mother Teresa says life is to love and to be loved. So when we reconnect to that love, that experience of love with God, with ourselves, with others, then that relaxes the system. around the freeze, and we have that little gap of empowerment to shift our whole system around a belief or a habit or whatever it is that we've given power to define us in this life and to control our actions and reactions in life. So once you've said the setup statement 3 times, then you do basically a round of specific points, and then you say also a reminder phrase. Just choose one thing from that setup statement. Cigarettes. You can even choose the word cigarettes. Cigarettes. And then the 2 points at the base of the eye, or at the beginning of the eyebrows. This is the first 2 points. And I do both sides of the body. You don't have to. Just be aware of what works for you and what feels good for you. I like to do both sides of the body so it doesn't have to travel all the way around. But that's your choice. So you're starting here at the eyebrow where it starts, and just repeat cigarettes, moving to the outside of the eyes on both sides or one side, cigarettes, under the eyes, cigarettes, and tap about 7 times on each point. And then under the nose, cigarettes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Under the lip, cigarettes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And whatever it is, this is your reminder phrase, cigarettes. And then I like to add the liver point, which is 3 inches down from your nipple, right underneath here, about the 3rd rib down, tapping on the liver point, cigarettes, under the arm where the bra strap line is, cigarettes. And for men, it's just right, probably about 2 or 3 inches underneath the armpit. Cigarettes, top of the head, cigarettes. And then breathe in and release. And then pick up that which you're addicted to. Try to increase the craving so you really want it again. Again, try to connect to all of your 5 senses, kinesthetically speaking, and smell it, taste it. Try to get that addiction up to the point where you're like, I gotta have this cigarette, and then put it down. And on a scale from 1 to 10, let's say I'm about a 5. So then I go back and I just do a refresher, so to speak, on the points. All I have to say is remaining, though. This remaining addiction, this remaining addiction, this remaining addiction, remaining cigarette craving, 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 remaining cigarette craving. And then just keep doing that, stop, breathe, and check in. Now, if you're still at about a 3 or a 4, you can add what's called the gamut point. And I use this when I'm stuck sometimes, and it's a couple more points, and they're on the outside part of your hand. If your hand is facing you like this, it's the outside of the thumb, the pointer finger, middle finger, index finger, pinky finger. You don't even have to tap the ring finger, because you're going to be tapping on another point between the pinky and the ring finger. And it's called the 9 gamut point because there's 9 different spots that you tap on. As you were tapping on this point, then you're going to be doing some exercises with your eyes, and I'll just run through it. I think that's the fastest way to do it. So you still have about a 4 or a 5 remaining in terms of your desire for that cigarette. Then you say, even though you can even start again, you don't have to start with a setup statement. I usually do. And usually have very good results with this. Even though I still am about a 5 in my desire for the cigarette, I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I'm about a 5 for wanting this cigarette, I just want one puff, I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I really want this cigarette and I'm still at about a 5, I deeply and profoundly love and accept myself just as I am. And then run through the points. This remaining addiction, remaining addiction, remaining addiction, remaining addiction, this remaining addiction, remaining addiction. I really want this cigarette. I gotta have this cigarette in order to feel good about myself. I really want this cigarette. I really want this to feel good about myself. And then go through your additional points in the gamut, saying addiction, the cigarette addiction, skip the ring finger, pinky finger, this cigarette addiction, and then just the point in the V between the pinky and the ring finger, tapping on it lightly. This addiction, and then just keeping your eyes straight, closing them, opening them, look hard down to the right, straight ahead, hard down to the left, straight ahead. As you are continually tapping on this point between your pinky and ring finger, roll your eyes one way, I know this looks crazy. Roll your eyes the other way, and then hum happy birthday. Count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hum happy birthday. Or any song, for that matter, because some people have negative attachments to birthdays. Can breathe in. And release. And then check in on a scale from 1 to 10. How much do I want this cigarette? Try it. It's very, very powerful. And there's more information on my website, laurenemiller.com, and on emofree.com. If you have any questions, there's a section on my website where you can send me a note, and we can communicate that way. That's it. That's it for this segment. There's so much more to EFT to share, but for simplicity purposes, to use for addictions, cravings, and attachments, just plug in your information to the template that we just did for cigarettes. Have a beautiful day of life, and remember, you can't always help what unfolds before you in life, but you can always, always choose your response to it. EFT is just one of the tools to help you realize and to manifest your ability to choose your response to situations. And it's all God-given. Don't forget the power that God has given you within you to overcome any situation that is outside of you. And as I mentioned in the quote from the last segment, all things splendid have been achieved by those who dare to believe that something inside them is superior to circumstance. Even if it's a powerful addiction, something inside you, your God-given ability, is superior to that circumstance. Don't forget that. Explore you and that power within you. And don't forget, you have the power to move mountains. God bless you. To your joy and peace in life. I look forward to the next time we can connect.